As many as 1 in 5 of the UK's 10,000 plus dairy farms could be forced to close each year as falling milk prices and rising debt reach crisis levels of farmers across the country. Many farmers are at the end of their tether, operating at a loss and unable to receive any more finance from the bank. One local farm affected by this is Newhouse Farm. Welcome to Glass Half Empty.
Let me down easy, let me down slow. If all good things ever come and go, let me back down in a place I know. Hold the nail for the hammer stroke.
Newhouse Farm has been a dairy farm as long as I can remember, and I think it progressed from a mixed farm to a dairy farm in my dad's lifetime. Started with probably only about 6 cows then, probably 50 years ago. So it probably wasn't a dairy farm originally when the house was built. It was probably a sheep farm actually. It was to do with the woolen industry. But as things changed, you know, wool went out of fashion or there wasn't enough money in it, things have changed and it's developed into dairy, just primarily dairy now.
Every morning is an early morning for Rich and his brother. As well as milking, the fields need to be checked and maintained. Fences and gates need to be secure.
For all you know, for all you know. Let me down easy, let me down slow. If all good things ever come and go.
So reeling this in and basically taking all the kit down, ready to put in another field down low by the barn and give the cattle some grazing for today. But we only give them a little bit every day because otherwise they'd eat a lot. What we do is we put an electric fencer on here with a car battery, and all it does is it puts a little charge through the wire, and the cattle, if they ever touch it, will get a little small electric shock, nothing too major, which would stop them from ploughing through it. Because the thing is, a cow weighs 600 kilograms, so they've got a lot of weight behind them to push through anything. They always like to find a hole in the hedge or anything, so you need to have an electric fence on it.
Even the experts get it wrong from time to time. Alongside the cows, there is plenty more wildlife to be seen. Rich and his family encourage conservation on the farm, just like creating a habitat for these barn owls.
Okay, so I just thought I'd show you a little bit of our conservation work here on the farm. And if we look up above us, we've got a couple of barn owl boxes. And these were put up here probably 10 years ago by myself and my father. We made them actually out of plywood and a couple of planks. And what it was is try and encourage barn owls to come back to the farm, because they were here until the 60s and then basically disappeared, partly because farmers were using a lot of nasty chemicals in those days. And I'd never seen a barn owl on the farm until about 10 years ago when I saw one in a tree, and it kind of showed they'd come back. Now, obviously looking up there you can't really see anything and you think, well, maybe they're not there, but there is something that indicates they are around. And I'll pick one up. This is a barn owl pellet. They eat their food. What happens is they regurgitate the remains of it, and inside this little pellet will be a little, probably some bones of a vole or something. So we'll have a look inside there in a minute. But basically I'm just really chuffed that they're back here really. They're very shy creatures and it's just lovely to have them. So we'll have a look inside here and we can see what they've had for breakfast.
There probably will be a skull in here somewhere. Aha, here we go. Look at this. Can you see this emerging? All this brown stuff, by the way, is the fur of this breakfast. And if you look inside, look, can you see that skull? There is a tiny little skull of a probably a vole or a little field mouse. And amongst all this is the ribs. Just popping out here are the ribs of its breakfast. So, and that just proves that a healthy population is here and what they've had for breakfast. So there you go.
I've seen quite a lot of changes in agriculture really, in the fact that a lot of farms have got a lot bigger and more specialised. I think, you know, there was a time when a lot more farms were mixed farms, and that sort of really sort of faded out a bit. And generally people sort of concentrate on one aspect of the farm which maybe they're good at, as it were. And on this farm we've sort of done the same, we've stuck with dairy now. It has been difficult staying with dairy actually, because the milk price has been so blooming low for the last year or two. It seems to be peaks and troughs with dairy. Either it's really good or really bad. And last year was really bad. This year is just sort of okay. Hopefully next year it'll be better.
Unfortunately, due to the low milk prices, Rich and his family have been unable to update their parlour. However, this does the job. It's called the breast parlour. They milk twice a day, starting early at 6 AM and again in the afternoon. When the cows are milked, it is cycled from the cows to a bulk tank which stores the milk at a cool 5 degrees and is held for 2 days. It's collected every other day. The milk is supplied to Muller for yogurts. Before the male calves are moved from the farm to the market, they are nurtured by the mother, but within 3 weeks the calves are sent to market and the heifers are kept on as a new generation and potential milkers.
Because we leave the calves on the cows for about a week, and then we take them off into these pens, and the idea is put them in these pens is it's a place where we can get them trained to drink from a bucket and get used to eating pellets, and then once they're on the bucket and been on here enough on the pellets, then we'll move them on up to a pen where they're able to just sort of have a bit more space, and then eventually they once they're big enough they can go out to grass. But the thing is you can't put young calves out to grass. They need to be strong enough and healthy enough to be able to sort of fend for themselves, so you need to have them in a shed for sort of 3 or 4 months, just feeding them cake, you know, which is animal which is protein, and some feed to get them strong. And some farms actually take their calves off the cows within 24 hours. Some of them, they do this thing called snatch calving, where they actually take them off as soon as they're born. But on this little farm, we like to keep them on as long as we can. We've got a lot of different calves here at the moment because we failed our TB test in February, which meant that they found a cow with TB, a big lesion in its chest when they did the post-mortem. So because of that, we're restricted on what we can do. We can't sell any calves now. And that's a real problem for us because we've got calves everywhere we've got to feed, and normally we sell them at 3 weeks old. Well, now we're actually having to rear them on, and it causes 2 problems. First of all, space. We haven't really got we're not geared up for keeping all these extra calves, but also cost, because we've lost all the cash flow that the sales would bring in. But it's costing us a lot of money to buy the cake. I just spent 250 quid just buying some calf cake the other week, and half that's gone already. And going forward, I'm not quite sure what will happen if we keep failing the test, and we're going to be in real problems by December.
Once the cows have been milked, they are allowed free range of the fresh grass over the summer months.
If you want to support British dairy farmers, you should really look for British products when you're buying something. And a classic example of that is maybe buy Somerset brie instead of French brie, because at least you know the money you're spending is going to a British farmer rather than the French farmer. And that income that you put back into British farming has a knock-on effect in the fact that, as you might have seen earlier, I've got barn owl boxes on the farm and things. That money pays for that to happen. So you're not just paying for a farmer's wages, you're paying for the upkeep of the British landscape and the land around it and the wildlife. So I think that's an important thing to do. The other thing you can do is look for a little red tractor logo on products, and that signifies that that product is a British product that's been produced on quite a high welfare standard, and we're tested on that welfare standard ourselves. So it's like an MOT for a farm, and it means that everything's done correctly. So you can guarantee that it's good. It's called farm assurance.
How do I wake my spirit cold? We always say when our history's told, if only we knew the things we know, There's a question ages old.